Dr. Rajeshri Reddy. I'll be starting with one of the chapters of human physiology today, that is digestion and absorption. Now what exactly is, first I'll talk about physiology. Physiology, a branch of biology which deals with the study of life processes. The life processes like circulation, excretion, reproduction in plants, processes like photosynthesis, respiration, etc. So here we'll be taking up only the human physiology, and the first chapter that I am going to start is digestion and absorption. So what exactly is this digestion and absorption? It is one of the steps of a process called as the nutrition. So we'll take up first nutrition. Well, so what is nutrition? So nutrition is defined as sum total of all the processes by which the food is taken in, digested, absorbed, assimilated, and the undigested food is thrown out. I'll write the definition. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the sum total of all the processes, sum total of all the processes by which food is taken in. The process of taking in of the food is called as ingestion. Then it is digested. Once it is digested, it is absorbed. Then it is assimilated, and the undigested food is, which is not digested, the undigested food is thrown out. So I'll repeat the definition. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the sum total of, it is the sum total of all the processes by which food is taken in, digested, absorbed, assimilated, and undigested food is thrown out. So it includes the steps like, now the process of taking in of the food is called as ingestion. So what is ingestion? Ingestion is the process by which the food is taken in. So intake of food. The food that is taken in is complex food which has to be converted into simple form, and that is what is called as the digestion. So the second step is digestion. What is digestion? The process by which the complex food is converted into simple food. So converting complex food into simple food is called as digestion. Now once it is digested, it is transferred into the blood, and the process is called as absorption. So absorption is transfer of digested food into blood. And the blood will carry this food to all the parts of the body, to each and every cell, tissue, organ, where the cells will use it, and this process of utilization of the food by the cell is called as assimilation. So what is assimilation? The process by which the cells use it. So utilization of food by cells. You can say it is utilization of food by the body. Now the food that is not digested is not absorbed, and that undigested food is thrown out of the body by the process called as egestion. So what is egestion? Egestion is the process by which the undigested food is thrown out. So that is what is nutrition. I'll give a quick recap now. So what is nutrition? It is the sum total of all the processes by which the food is taken in. The food is taken in, then it is digested, it is converted into simple form, then absorbed, that is it is transferred into the blood, assimilated, that is it is utilized by the cells, and whatever is not digested, that will be thrown out of the body by the process called as egestion. So it is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion, and the sum total of all these processes together is called as nutrition. So here the food which we are talking about, now let me talk about something that is like a balanced food or a balanced diet. So we all know that food is must for our survival. It is not just must for the survival, but it is needed for our normal growth and development of the body also. So what kind of food am I talking about? So the food that we are taking it should have adequate amount of all the nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals and water. So depending upon the requirement, whatever amount of carbohydrate or fats or proteins or vitamins are needed by the body, we have to consume it. And if the food contains that required amount of all these nutrients, then it is called as balanced diet. So a balanced diet is a diet which contains the required amount of carbohydrates, proteins, fats. These are the main nutrients. We call them as the macronutrients because we get the energy from these three nutrients. So they are the macronutrients. But along with these macronutrients, these are the nutrients which give us the energy. We also have to take some other nutrients which includes vitamins, minerals, and of course water, the universal solvent, and these are called as the micronutrients. These are required in small amount. They do not give us energy, but they are must for the normal growth and development of the body. So that is the balanced diet which contains the required amount of carbohydrate, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals and water, of which carbohydrates, proteins and fats are the macronutrients, vitamins, minerals and water are the micronutrients. So the next part that we have to take up now is the digestion and absorption. So first we'll take up the digestive system of man. So the human digestive system, which can be studied under two headings. One is the alimentary canal, that is what is called as the digestive tract, and there are some glands called as the digestive glands associated with it. So there are two headings of the digestive systems which we will be taking. One is the alimentary canal, that is the digestive tract or the gastrointestinal tract, GI tract, and the other is the digestive glands. Digestive glands. There are many digestive glands associated with the alimentary canal, but we will be taking up only the three glands, and that is the salivary gland, which secretes saliva, liver, the multi-purpose organ of our body, which secretes bile juice, and pancreas, a heterocrine gland. So these are the three digestive glands. And the alimentary canal, which we have to take up in detail, this alimentary canal which starts with mouth, then it continues and forms pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the last part is the anus. Now I will be drawing a diagram in which all these parts will be labeled correctly. So the alimentary canal, which starts with mouth, ends with anus, is called as the complete digestive tract. So it is the complete digestive tract, starting with mouth and ending with anus. So that is a complete tract. So the digestive system of man, we will be drawing a diagram now. So the digestive system, which is studied under two headings, as I said. One is the alimentary canal and the other one is digestive glands. Alimentary canal starting with mouth, ending with anus is said to be complete, and the digestive glands we will be taking up are the salivary gland, liver and pancreas. So first we will see the alimentary canal. So the alimentary canal, as I mentioned, that it starts with mouth. So the alimentary canal starts with mouth. Now this mouth leads into a space or a cavity, and that cavity is called as the buccal cavity, mouth cavity, oral cavity. So this is the mouth cavity or buccal cavity. Actually this buccal cavity is separated from the nasal cavity. So this is the nose having the opening called as the nostril. This is the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity and buccal cavity both open in a common tube, and that common tube, this common tube is called as the pharynx. So the alimentary canal. Digestive system of man consists of alimentary canal, which begins with mouth. Now this mouth leads into a cavity called as the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity and nasal cavity together open in a small short tube which is around 12 centimeter long, called as the pharynx. Now again this pharynx gets separated into two tubes. One of the tube which is broad, short, on the anterior side is trachea, about which we'll study in the next chapter, that is respiratory system. And now we'll continue with the tube which is on the posterior side. So this is the food pipe, and this food pipe is called as the esophagus. So it starts with mouth. Mouth leads into buccal cavity into pharynx, pharynx leads into a tube called as the esophagus. Now this esophagus, it crosses the diaphragm and then it dilates to form a J-shaped structure, and this bag-like structure, muscular structure, is nothing but our stomach. Now stomach is not the main site for the digestion, it is the main site for the storage of the food. Around 4 to 5 hours the food can be stored in the stomach. So this is a big structure, and this stomach again has 4 parts. The part of the stomach into which this esophagus opens, this part, is called as the cardiac stomach. This is cardiac stomach. This part, which is most of the time filled with gas, is called as the fundic part or the fundic stomach. This is the main part of the stomach where the food is stored, that is the body. And this is the last part of the stomach, the 4th part, called as the pyloric stomach. So that is the stomach, which is actually a wide structure, a sac-like structure, muscular structure. It is like a J-shaped structure into which esophagus opens, and the stomach consists of 4 parts: the cardiac stomach, fundic stomach, body, and the pyloric stomach. Now stomach continues and forms small intestine. I will draw the diagram of the small intestine on this side. So I will continue this here, and again I will draw it on the other side. So the 6th part, after the stomach you will find the small intestine, and the small intestine initially has, this is somewhat U-shaped or C-shaped structure, and this C-shaped structure is duodenum. This is the duodenum. Now this duodenum continues and forms a highly coiled structure. This highly coiled structure is called as the jejunum. And again the jejunum somewhat becomes narrower, further coils, and forms the last part, that is called as the ileum. So this part is the jejunum, and the last part is ileum, ileum. I mentioned the spelling because there is a part of a bone in our pelvic girdle that is also called as ileum, but there the spelling is ileum. Here it is ileum. So the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, these together forms the 6th part, and the 6th part is small intestine. Well, the small intestine again continues and forms the large intestine. The large intestine has initially a broad part, that is what is called as the cecum. Here there is a small finger-like structure. This is appendix. Appendix, which is a vestigial organ in us, and this sac-like structure is the cecum. The cecum continues and forms colon. The part of the colon which is moving towards the thoracic cavity, towards the upper side, is called as the ascending colon. This is the transverse colon. This is the descending colon. So this entire part is the colon. This is ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and then you find a part of the colon which is somewhat S-shaped, and that is what is called as the sigmoid colon, which continues and forms another small sac-like structure called as the rectum, and the rectum opens out through anus. So our alimentary canal begins with mouth. Mouth leads into buccal cavity. Buccal cavity leads into pharynx. Pharynx into esophagus. Esophagus then forms the stomach. Stomach continues and forms small intestine. And this is what is the large intestine. So this part is the seventh part, the large intestine. Large intestine consists of cecum, appendix and colon. And last part, that is the rectum and anus. So you can write this anus as the eighth part. So this is the eighth part. So I'll just give a brief again. What is this alimentary canal? So the alimentary canal starts with the mouth. That is the opening. Mouth leads into a space called as the buccal cavity. Buccal cavity which is separated from the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity and buccal cavity together leads into a small tube called as pharynx. Again the pharynx gets separated. The anterior part is the trachea, the windpipe, which we do not have to study right now. And the posterior long narrow tube-like structure is the esophagus. This esophagus continues and gets dilated to form stomach. The stomach consists of four parts: cardiac stomach, fundic, body and the pyloric stomach. The pyloric stomach continues into small intestine. The small intestine has three parts. This is a C-shaped part called as duodenum. Then it gets coiled to form jejunum. It again further coils to form ileum. So that is the small intestine having duodenum, jejunum, ileum. The small intestine then continues and forms large intestine. The large intestine consists of cecum, and just near the cecum there is a small structure, a worm-like structure called as appendix, which is vestigial organ. The cecum continues and forms colon. The colon consists of ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, which again dilates and forms rectum. The rectum is the place where undigested food is stored, and through anus it will be released out. So that was the alimentary canal of